Your clones are very impressive. You must be very proud.
I'm just a simple man.
Hey everyone, welcome back to F Tier Fridays, and today we're going to be doing an S Tier hero, which is a little bit par for the course with our recent F Tier Fridays, but we're playing Aurora today, but not a standard Aurora list. We are playing the Arc Flicker combo list, which I think is a deck that I don't really know how to evaluate. I'm actually stealing this from the Calling Brazil, like the latest Calling, that this list I think went 5 and 2 in day one, which means like it's kind of playable from what I understand. What I think this deck might struggle with is just like the Aurora matchup. So it's like an anti Aurora deck, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, but this is basically kind of a late game combo shell that you're trying to line up like Arc Flicker together with a bunch of like silver, gold. Cash out is obviously one of the big combo cards here. So you basically sack like weapons, equipment, non-token items, and create a silver for each permanent destroyed, which is very, very powerful if you can like stack a bunch of blues in the late game. We also have like a bunch of potions that we can sack. We have a bunch of just like very strong defensive cards, and we're basically not trying to attack our opponent until we get to that Arc Flicker like end game, basically. And this deck is kind of like a deck that is trying to catch your opponent off guard, right? So the main kind of like draw of this deck is your opponent boards for like normal Aurora. Maybe they bring in a bunch of D-Reacts or a bunch of like defensive cards, and then the defensive cards don't do anything, right? Because you're going to be able to just like stack a bunch of damage, and they're not going to be able to like D-React it, right? So that's kind of like the draw of this deck. In the sideboard, I think we also have a bunch of just pretty good cards. We have like Findalls, we have Battlefront Bastion. These are basically all just like poppers, I think. And then we're also running like some minor tech cards here, like Amulet of Echoes, Remembrance, and Potion Deja Vu. I don't actually think these are for the purpose of sacking here. I think these are actually like targeted tech cards against certain decks, like maybe like Acilio or whatever. So definitely kind of interesting. But I guess in the late game, you could also potentially sack them to cash out if you really wanted to, but maybe not entirely necessary. And then we have the Aether Iron Weave, Quick Dodge Flexors, and Reaping Blade, just in case. I don't actually know what these are for. I mean, the Quick Dodge obviously makes sense, but the Aether Iron Weave and the Reaping Blade are a little bit curious to me. Maybe also for Prism, actually, if you're trying to like kill auras or whatever. That kind of makes sense to me. But yeah, this deck seems actually pretty good. Again, went 5 and 2 in a calling, which is very, very impressive, especially on day one. And yeah, I want to give it a shot here. I don't actually know how to like really evaluate this deck. I don't think it's like actually F tier. I think it's I don't know, maybe like high C, low B tier or something like that. Definitely can catch your opponent off guard, but I think just probably struggles into like aggro matchups. Maybe is my guess, but we'll go ahead and play it and see if that actually proves to be true. So yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get some games. All right, we got the Aurora Mirror. Let's see how this goes. So don't have a, I guess Lightning Greaves is our AV. I guess we probably do need, and then I guess we're just running the main 60 probably, I guess. Let's see if this deck is actually like okay into Aurora. I'm kind of curious. I think if this is the Aurora combo mirror, I will probably end up scooping here. But if it's normal Aurora, I think I'm fine to play into it. All right, seems like it is not the combo mirror. Let's go ahead and I guess pitch an E-Pot or play an E-Pot here. Oh, actually, sorry, we should grass first. Grass first. Let's get rid of Brothers in Arms, I guess, and then play out the E-Pot here. All right, seems like they're going to start off by developing out CLV and then also pitching to Aurora, which is probably one of the nastier Aurora starts that you can have. So pretty good from them here. All right, let's go ahead and just Arsenal here. Probably just Arsenal, which is better? I guess Fate's probably better. Probably Marginal. Ooh, the reduced to rune chance are pretty nasty. If you just get one rune chain online, this card is like basically free for the rest of the game, which is quite nice. All right, so we will do our best here to try to deny the CLV hit. So I guess that involves probably just reacting to this. So let's go ahead and use, I guess, Reduce here. Don't think the ordering matters too much. All right, they're going to go for Lightning Press. We'll go for Sigil of Suffering in response. It seems like they're going to take the damage there. All right, following up with a Starfall. I think this cash out's probably a little bit too early, so maybe we'll just block with it. It's definitely one of our power cards here, but like it's probably fine to just like get rid of it. All right, so we do have 2 rune chance. We can then just send in with Scepter Pain here, and then also maintain React and Arsenal, which is quite nice. It's actually going pretty well for us, but I imagine next turn is going to be maybe a little bit rough, especially with the pot draw. Not super crazy about that. Although maybe like cut that into this matchup, I'm not sure. May still want to run some amount of potions. Who knows? Okay, so I think now is probably the opportunity to give up like grass plus this. We want to like block the CLV if we can. So we'll go ahead and just give 2 cards here. Would like to take some damage eventually, I think. All right, Ravenous Rebel, so we'll go ahead and try to react this, I think. Seems like they don't have a press, or they probably would have used it there. Let's go ahead and bottom a drawn. I don't think we necessarily need that right now. All right, overpitching the grass May to keep it around an extra turn is interesting. Kind of fine with this. So what do we do here? So our options are play out energy potion, pass. You can also double pitch into the grass when we make a rune chant and then starting stake or something. Do we have a way to get a card out of Arsenal? I guess maybe not. So how do we get rid of this drawn, I guess is the question. Maybe we don't get rid of it. Maybe we just starting stake because it's like the best thing we can do. I could see that. Just play out starting stake, I guess. And then Arsenal E-Pot. It's probably fine. All right, there's our Flicker Wisp. All right, and here is their Arc Lightning. So I think now is probably the opportunity to give us to take a little bit of damage here. Just because paying the AB is like not necessarily super efficient. They also pitched a CLV for what it's worth, so like we're not really at risk of another CLV happening in the near future necessarily. All right, Static Shock coming in for 4. 4 in the on hit. This is with less life. Yeah, or greater. They have to have greater life. Okay. We could throw Grasp in front of it, but maybe this is like just a fine on hit. Maybe we don't really care all that much. I think we'll take a little bit of damage here. We're not really taking any damage to like set up for anything, but like it's probably just fine to get our kind of like armor turned on, I guess. So we'll go ahead and just take a bunch of damage from the Arc Lightning here. Right, they have a Somersault. Presumably they're going to try to use that on the Entwine Lightning here. So this does have Go again for what it's worth, which is kind of interesting. I want to see how this card is like actually programmed. I'm very, very curious. All right, looks like they're just going to Somersault this, which is fine. Wonder if they're going to keep it around a 3rd turn. I don't think I've ever actually seen a CLV stick around for 3 turns. It's probably just terrible at that point, right? Like, why would you ever do that? But I would like to see it at least one point before Aurora LLs at this point, I guess. All right, so Entwine Lightning is fine. Sure. Go ahead and just keep blocking here. Another Somersault is pretty nasty. This card is kind of messed up now that I think about it. Or not that now that I think about it. Like, this card's always been really good, but this card is, like, very, very good. Just being, like, a 5 block that also is, like, a 0 for 4 is pretty nasty. All right, I think we're just keeping our hand here, taking 2, and then they're getting rid of Sigil Suffering, which makes a lot of sense in this matchup because it's basically kind of worthless. All right, take all the damage, and then looks like they're ending on the Entwine Lightning. Also makes sense. So I think we're just taking this as well. Then we get to pick a card, any card. All right, so we play out this first because it has Go again. Pretty spicy. All right, so oh, they have 2 Static Shocks. Wait, this card's insane. Okay, Static Shock. Wait. How does this result? Look at target opponent's hand, the name of card. Choose a random card from their hand and reveal it. If it's the name card, oh, it's choose a. You don't get to choose, right? It's just it picks a random card for you. Fascinating. Okay, wild. Yeah, I still misread that card somehow. I thought it did something like slightly different. I thought I had to basically like pick the card, but apparently it's just random. That's pretty cool. All right, we do have our Flicker Wisp. It's maybe a little bit early for Flicker Wisp, but it's probably fine. We'll just take the damage here. We probably should have used our tunic, but that's, I think, okay. Not the end of the world here. All right, and if yes, we'll just... What do we want to do? I guess we're just like double syncing this, probably. All right, good. They're gonna just pitch a shelter here. That makes a whole lot of sense. We can filter the sync below if we want to. Yeah, it's fine. Fates, I guess, also fine. Bottom sigil suffering, I think, is also okay. I guess here we'll just develop out the first CYB. All right, we have our auras set up pretty all right here, so that's good. Gain 2 life and start the CYB train rolling. Maybe this deck's actually not that bad in Aurora because like we're kind of dying, but like they're also like bricking like pretty bad. All right, let's see what this is. We're probably just gonna like discard these or like play these. All right, so they're not doing anything here. What does that mean? I guess we just like sync this. Sync the haunting. I'm like a little bit worried that we're not like setting up our pitch stack correctly. I think this is fine. All right, I guess they're just making embodiment because their hand is maybe a little bit bricky. So now the question I have is, do I want to crack an E-pot just to like develop out a CYB? I kind of do, just to like get a little bit of life padding. I think having at least one E-pot is probably sufficient. Like, I don't know if we need both of them. And gaining life seems like reasonable here. I don't think we need like 3 E-pots to kill them or anything. We probably just need 1 or whatever. All right, so coming in with the Skizik. Do we want to use Brother in Arms here this turn? Maybe. I guess we'll see what happens. But we'll probably start with like Reduce. All right, they're going to somersault this. That's A-okay. Go ahead and just reduce this, I guess. And then what is our board state at? We're at 4 rune chance, 2 silver, 1 gold, and an E-pot. I think that's a pretty good spot to be in. All right, so they're going to have the current funnel. I think that's also okay. We'll go ahead and just throw the Brother in Arms in front of it and just not pay. Pay 0. Seems good enough to me. All right, Skizik has returned. Guess we'll just react this again. Pretty efficient stuff here. Yeah, maybe this deck isn't actually all that bad in Aurora. Maybe my initial impressions were incorrect here. Let's... So what can we do with this Burdens of the Past if we keep it in hand? I guess there's like no reason to like try to block 2. We can like pitch it to Scepter and then also kind of strips a card out of hand maybe. Maybe it was correct to block with it, I don't know. But I don't want to like just lose to like Snatch or whatever. So I'll go ahead and just use the Scepter Pain here. I think this Flicker Arsenal is maybe a little bit too early. Definitely feels maybe incorrect. They also don't have like Arsenal Disruption, so maybe it's also fine. All right, so let's go ahead and maybe start paying into this turn just to preserve life total. It's probably okay. It's definitely like not efficient to pay into Arc Lightning, but we're basically getting 3 block anyway, so maybe it's fine. Right, getting another Skithic seems good. All right, so I think we'll just throw the Haunting Rendition in front of it. Seems fine to me. All right, they have the press, and that is cleanly blocked by a shelter here. So you get to pay 1 here. All right, Starfall pitching Sigil Suffering also seems good. And I think I'm just trying to play around Snatch here, so maybe we also just like hold back the card again. Could be wrong what I'm doing, but like, I guess we do have like the armor to block a Snatch if we need to. I don't know. It's wrong. I think it's fine, maybe still. Probably being like a little bit too cautious around Snatch. It should probably just be like getting max value every turn, and then if they have Snatch, I just throw the 4 armor in front of it or whatever. It's probably more correct. All right, seems like I took a card out of hand. I'm very, very happy. Oh, okay. Do we win? CLV on top. So they don't have CLV. Wait, do we win? Hold on. Okay, so Ravenous Rebel coming in for 3. So we do Arc, Flicker. It's Arc, Flicker first, right? Dean, do you Arc, Flicker first?
What's up?
Do you Arc then Flicker, or you Flicker then Arc?
I believe you flicker then arc.
Do you?
Because you flicker and then you fuse arc and then you play arc, right?
Oh, yeah, I guess so. All right. Well, I have the fusion anyways. I guess we'll just take this. All right, so taking 3 here. So what is better? Is it better to Flicker than Arc, or is it better to Arc than Flicker?
The time-old question.
Yeah. I think I'm just going to throw armor in front of this. I think it's probably fine at this point. So this is kill, though, I guess is the question. So let me do some mental math here. We Flicker, Arc. Or do we Arc first? What is like the correct sequencing here? There's obviously like a mathematically correct answer, but I don't want to like sit here on Talishar and just like take up a bunch of my opponent's time. So I think, is it Flicker first? No, it has to be Arc first. I feel like everyone I've seen does Arc Flicker first, so maybe it is Arc first. We have the fusion for Flicker, so it doesn't matter. Then we Arc again. I don't know if I'm doing this right, but it seems like, I feel like I always see my opponents do Arc before flickering. I could be wrong on that. Maybe they do Flicker first. I need an Aurora player to like actually tell me what the correct line is here, but I guess they scooped it up. So let's actually take some time to do some math here. So
2 hours later.
All right, so I did some basic math here to kind of figure out what is better in that situation, because I've actually like not done the math myself. So let's find out together. So my baseline assumption is that you're supposed to do Arc first in this situation. So assuming that is that you have like an additional lightning card to fuse to the flickers. So in that situation, in the first situation where you go double Arc, then Flicker, you do 1 plus 2 plus 6 plus 9, which basically comes out to 18 damage total, I believe. If I do some math incorrectly here, I apologize. It's kind of late at night. But if we do Flicker, then Arc first, we're doing 2 plus 3 off the first 2 flickers, which is 5 damage total. Then off the first Arc Lightning, we're doing 3, which comes to 8. And then we're doing 3 times 2 at this point, which means that we're doing only an extra 6. So for my basic math here, I'm assuming that this comes out to 14. Again, Tegan can fact check me on this, but this seems to be correct. Let's actually, is it possible that it's even, like, what if we do Arc Flicker? Is that potentially more? Let's I guess do the math here.
1 eternity later.
Wait, so if we do Arc Flicker, I think that actually comes out to more damage, right? So it's 1 from the first Arc. Then we do 2 times 2 for the Arc trigger plus the Flicker Wisp trigger. Then that's 5 total. We do another Arc, which then becomes 2 times 3 at this point, right? That comes to 6. So we're at 11 currently, and then we end on 9 with the last Flicker. Is that correct? I think that is actually the most amount of damage you can do. I'm curious, what happens if we do Arc, Flicker, Arc? That can't be more, right?
So much later that the old narrator got tired of waiting and they had to hire a new one.
All right, so after this game, I actually had to do some math because I've barely touched Aurora, as you can tell. But I've also not done the math on like stupid Aurora high rolls, so let's go ahead and I guess explore it together. So the first method I was trying was if we do Arc, Flicker. If we do that, we do 1 and then 1 times 2 and then 2 times 3 here off the 2 Arc pings, and then 3 times 3 to finish it, which I believe sums up to 18 here. Again, Tegan is going to be in charge of fact checking me here. If I'm completely wrong, feel free to correct me in the video because it's obviously a little bit late at night. But if we do, let's do it the kind of opposite way. Let's do the flickers first. I think it's less efficient to do flickers first if you can, right? I think you always want to start with arc if you can, from what I've seen just from good Aurora players. So if you do flicker, obviously it's wrong, but you do 2 + 3, and then you do another 3 off the arc, and then you do 3 × 2 off the last arc, which is like kind of efficient. So you're basically only cashing in 14 damage off of that. Now, if we go to some of the cases that I thought were like, I thought like, oh, why don't you just like do this? But apparently these actually deal more damage if I'm doing this math correctly. So if we do the first arc, we get 1 damage, obviously, same as the other steps. And then if we do flicker after the arc, then we get 2 × 2, which is, obviously pretty good. Then we do another arc after this, which puts us to 6, so this is 11 in total. Then we finish on another 9, which puts us through 20 damage. So this is, I think, the highest damage you can get. And apparently, from what I also did the math on, if you do arc, flicker, flicker, arc, then you actually do an equivalent amount of damage to whether or not you do the flicker first or the arc first, basically at this point, like I guess the third action here. So definitely some interesting math to look at. Again, I'm kind of curious. I want to like it seems so simple that I feel like I'm like doing something wrong, but I think this math is correct. So if it's incorrect, feel free to let me know in the comments. But I think that I'm correct here. So I think that the highest damage that you can do based on playing these 4 cards in a row is to do them in this order, and then you get 20 damage out of that, which is really, really nice. Yeah, so I think we probably kill our opponent there, like even if we do the 18 damage, which is probably what I was doing initially. But yeah, miss 2 damage obviously can win or lose games, so definitely, I guess, if you've ever been curious about like the Aurora combo deck that's just trying to do this, I guess this is the math for you. So I don't know what it comes out to with 5. I'm assuming that with 5 you probably want to follow like a similar pattern to like maybe doing arc, flicker, flicker, arc, arc or something, or like arc, like maybe like mix it in like this. I don't know what becomes like the best in the 5 scenario. I guess it maybe even depends on if you have like another arc. Yeah, but this is like math I don't care about because I'm not going to play this deck ever again because I hate Aurora. But let's go ahead and see if we can get another game here. All right, so we got a Prism. So I think we'll do the Prism plan of probably bringing in the Reaping Blade and maybe even the Quick Dodge here, just for extra block value. Then we'll bring in our Poppers. And then I forget what I cut last time. I think I played against another Prism, but they were playing a little slow for me, so I kind of left. But we'll go ahead and get rid of the pick a card, any cards, and then maybe also, do we need E-Pot against Prism? I don't feel like we really do. Maybe just bring in a bunch of block cards and then bring in the Poppers, and that seems maybe good enough. We could also bring in the cash outs, or like take out the cash outs. I don't know. Is cash out worth? I don't know. Let's leave the cash outs. Let's leave the cash outs in, rather, which is a very confusing thing for my brain to say. But yeah, I think we're probably fine with this. All right, so we found our first Arc Lightning, which we are going to immediately try to push away, or pitch away, rather. All right, go ahead, and I think just block. I block 7 on this, but like, I don't know. Yeah, sure, why not? Don't think we can unfortunately give up the Arc Lightning here. So we're probably just going to end up blocking like another 3 on their second Herald if they have one. If they don't have a Herald here, it's obvious it's like pretty good for us though. All right, Starting Stake unfortunately not super useful here though. All right, so pitch to grass, pitching this. I think we're just going to set these 2 Arc Lights up next to each other. And I guess we're just IPing killing the Pierce because like Pierce needs to basically die, I think, on site. Yeah, there's basically no way to do anything else, right? That is the joy of, I guess, playing a fatigue combo deck like we have here. But that is a very good pitch stack, so we'll try to remember that. That's coming up in how many turns? Like 14 turns or whatever. All right, we're arsenaling the Starting Stake so we can block with the Truce. I think that like we have to keep 2 cards for Truce versus 1 card for Starting Stake, which is quite strong. And then here we're probably just going to go for like Cash Out plus D-React, probably Shelter, and then try to Sigil Suffering whatever is next. Try to Starve Soul as much as possible. All right, seems like they'll go for the Rebirth here. It's actually funny that Arclight like doesn't do anything against this deck. All right, go ahead and send in the sigil, which I imagine they're probably not going to pay for here if they want to just keep a card for next turn. Yeah, seems good to me. I think we are supposed to playing out the starting stake here just so we use up our action point. And, like, we couldn't swing Reaping Blade, so if they play out an Aurora here, we couldn't kill it anyways. Ooh, Battlefront Bastion, very nice. One of our 8 poppers, which is just maybe enough to get us through this matchup. All right, so we'll start by trying to pop the first thing, and if they have, like, they want to Halo or this, I guess they can't really fully Halo. They can, like, Reprimand or whatever. But we are going to get that nice little 1 extra prevention here, which maybe helps us cover a breakpoint on the next thing. I think it does here. Yeah, it kind of does. So we can go ahead and give Grasp, and then... what are we going to do? Could also, like... Also just, like, let them have the first bit of soul. Kind of, like, inefficient to use React here, because we're, like, stranded with 2 blue cards. So maybe we just let them have the first soul here. I guess we shouldn't even block with Grasp, necessarily. Yeah, the Grasp block was probably a punt there. I was thinking we were maybe going to try to block that, but maybe not. I guess it doesn't really matter here. If we try to block and then we get blown out by Angelic Wrath, I think it's, like, fine. So I think here we're probably just going to, like, Rune Chant plus Reaping Blade. But yeah, definitely should have kept that 1 block on the Grasp around if we were planning on just letting that hit. But I think I, like, decided that halfway through blocks. I promise I don't play like this in paper, by the way. I feel like a lot better of a player in paper, but I feel pressured a little bit by the Talishar timer sometimes. And, like, I feel like I don't always make the best decision the fastest, necessarily. But I do feel like I make pretty fast decisions, at least. All right, go ahead and Arsenal that sync. All right, very, very nice hand for just blocking. Block early, block often. All right, block with the current funnel, and then probably just cover it, I guess, with Fate, just to get some extra info here. I will probably leave that on top. Seems pretty decent. Let's see what they got here. All right, Herald of Tenacity is A-okay with me, so we'll go ahead and try to cover it from Arsenal. Don't want to draw here because we don't want to draw the Fyendal's Fighting Sphere. We want to have it for next turn, ideally. Then we'll go ahead and just Arsenal Shelter here. If they play out like a Genesis or something weird in a turn, we could probably kill it with, like, Reaping Blade. But looks like not necessary here. All right, so we will attempt to go for the popper. It's definitely a little bit awkward if we do try to pop this, though, because, like, the problem is if they go for the minus with the Halo here, then we, like, don't have a really clean block on it. It's definitely a little bit concerning. Maybe we don't need a clean block. Maybe we're just trying to bait out Halo. I can get behind that. Maybe that's fine. It's definitely, like, I think if they do try to go for Halo here, we just let that happen. All right, pitching it out, got. All right, and then the question here is, do we want to give them any extra soul, or do we want to, like, just develop out CYB? Kind of feel like we should just develop out the first CYB here. And use CYB plus, like, Reaping Blade at them, which is also, like, kind of fine. And we can just, like, throw a React in front of this. I think I'm okay with that. I think it will just be efficient here. Like, you can't always starve them with soul. I think that sometimes it's just, like, inefficient to do so. All right, looks like they're targeting Herald of Tenacity with Rebirth, so that puts it on top of the deck, which I guess then just gets shuffled by Prism. I guess it just, like, functionally goes back in the deck, which is kind of cool. Then here, I think we'll go for just, like, Reaping plus CYB. I only have a 4-card hand, and we still have React up, so pretty good. I could definitely also see, like, cutting CYBs in this matchup, but they're actually, like, kind of okay, I feel like. The no block's a little bit rough, obviously, but gaining life always kind of nice. Alright, Knife Blade is one of the better poppers, I feel like. It's because you can't really even Halo or Reprimand that super easily. Alright, go ahead and throw the blade in front of it. See what they got. Seems like they're not going to pay into it. Okay, that makes sense. I guess we'll just take the opportunity here to maybe develop out Truce. So we can do like Grass, pitching the Fate, and then play out Truce. I don't know if we want to like just sandbag the Fate though. Maybe we do. We can also like pull Tunic and do the same thing. I feel like putting Fate back in the deck after we like pitched a bunch of stuff is not ideal. So let's go ahead and just like pull Tunic and then play out Truce. Kind of IPing a little bit here, but that's maybe fine. Alright, looks like another Arc Lightning is here. Yeah, and I'm probably just going to sink this. Warcry of Themis. Next angel attack gets +4. Cool. Definitely curious why they're running this card in this matchup. Doesn't seem like it's all that great attack, but maybe just as like a yellow, it's like fine. Is it 0 cost? Hold on. Where'd it go? Oh, did they undo it? Okay. Next angel gets, yeah, it is a 0 cost. It's not bad. It's like a yellow Angelic Wrath, but kind of reaction speed, I guess. All right, gonna go for the erudition here. I guess we'll go ahead and then just throw maybe Haunting in front of it, plus Sync, and then try to sync this Arc Lightning away. We probably actually shouldn't even be blocking this, but maybe just soaking up a little bit of damage here. We probably want to actually just Sandbag React here for Heralds. Like, obviously we want to like sync this Arc Lightning away to find something a little bit better. Alright, seems like they got the erudition here. Honestly, I kind of want to just double react this, which I think we will, which also kind of plays around the Wrath here a little bit, which is exactly what they had. Very, very smart play by me. We'll go ahead and leave that on top. Then Angelic Wrath, and then we'll go ahead and sync it. Put that Arc Lightning on the bottom. Draw into the Reduce, which we knew about. And then we'll probably just like pitch to Grasp and then send in Reaping Blade. I guess we don't even have to pitch into Grasp. We can just like attack them and then just double Arsenal. It's pretty inefficient to like block this. I guess they can give us like 2 cards, but if they're giving us 2 cards with like no soul, I think I'm kind of happy with that. I guess they do have Halo still up for what it's worth. Maybe there is an efficient way to actually block this. I don't know. It's probably fine. Alright, looks like they're going to opt to give us Pierce here and then maybe give us Soul Shield. I think I'm also okay with that. It's definitely pretty efficient there. And they get that extra soul for Soraya, which is a little bit scary. Alright, attacking in with Soraya seems good to me. I think we'll just take the damage a little bit here, just so we're getting a little bit closer to kind of like even life totals. Alright, I guess we can like Brothers in Arms plus Reduce here if we want to. It's like kind of efficient, somewhat. Sure, I guess. I think we will also like just go ahead and pay into it since we also have to pay for the Reduce here anyways. Alright, go ahead and pay for Brothers. And then attempt to cover with the Reduce as well. Alright, seems like they have the Wrath here, which is no real stopping that. I guess we could throw the Quick Dodge in front of it if we really wanted to be cute. It's like maybe good. They have Go again, so they like Wrath again. I don't know. Maybe it's fine to actually Quick Dodge this. Seems like they really wanted that to hit, so maybe it's okay. getting 2 block on Flexors, I think is like fine. Like the most you're ever gonna get in this matchup is like 4 block. Probably just gonna end up like pitching a react to this to pressure Soraya next turn. So go ahead and pitch the Fate here, I guess is the worst react. And then we'll still just try to keep this Soraya from ideally keep it from running us over. But they can still probably like get some extra soul here with like the Halo here. But we basically just want to like kind of reduce the efficiency of their hands while they're doing that, I think. Oh, it seems like they're gonna let it go though. That's very, very good for me. All right, CYB, reduce, kind of a good combo with this hand. All right, interesting. They're going for the Halo, which is kind of surprising that they let that die last turn. If they, I guess it depends what they get here, but I don't know. That does kind of interest me. All right, going for Figment, which just kind of makes sense. And yeah, Dissolve is also pretty solid. It looks like they're going to go for Flip. Flipping which one? Protection. I guess it doesn't really matter since they don't really have that extra soul. So what do we want to do here? We're going to get a Ponder token. Our Ponders are like pretty good in this deck, I feel like. So maybe we just do like Reduce plus Haunting. And then like CYB and just let them have whatever. And we can Tunic, pull Tunic Reaping Blade. That seems like pretty good. Go ahead and just soak up damage here. And deny at least the first Angel hit, which I guess doesn't matter as much now, but we want to probably try to starve as much soul as possible here. If they're flipping and not attacking, they're kind of like losing out on value. It's probably fine to do this. So take 4. I did have a War Tune, which is actually like very, very good here. So yeah, we'll let that hit. And then we'll go ahead and CYB as well. So they're going to get Ponder here, which is actually really nasty. I think that Dissolve was actually like really, really disgusting. But at least we get a Ponder token as well, and we're also sending Reaping Blade, which pressures Angel, which is good. All right, go ahead and pull the Tunic. Send it at Prism. We're getting close to our pitch stack. I don't know where our flickers are. I feel like I haven't seen any of our flickers. Maybe I just haven't noticed them. I feel like we've seen all 3 arcs, but no flickers. Which is maybe a little concerning to me. It seems like they're pitching double react, which I'm also kind of okay with here. All right, red CYB is a very excellent arsenal target. All right, seems like they're going to go for Vegas here. I think we'll just go ahead and throw the Brothers in Arms in front of it since we already have the CYB to play alongside with it. So it seems good to me. Go ahead and pay 1 here. I guess we'll get rid of Drawn. It's fine. All right, finishing on the Erudition, which we have the perfect answer for. So A-okay with this going on. I guess they do get another action point, but that's all right. They have the potential to get another action point, and then we'll play out the CYB. So yeah, I think we're still in pretty good shape here. All right, go ahead and Grasp plus Reaping Blade. Classic little combo here. Just keep pressuring the Angel, stripping cards from hands so that we don't have to worry about their like 4 or 5 card hands. Grasp plus Reaping Blade is just so efficient. Even not in Viscerai, or like even outside of like Flurry and Viscerai, it's still just like very efficient combo. So now I have to like give us a full card from hand if they want to keep Angel around, which they probably do. Maybe. It's like pretty efficient to keep Angel around. Yep, seems like they agree with me. Red here, what's a little bit interesting, maybe means that they have like another red in hand. All right, here are flickers. So we probably have to kill Genesis here, which means we probably just make a rune chant. So we make a rune chant, pitching a flicker. Then we get like Arsenal flicker, and then keep these 2 cards in hand. Or I guess we keep the Battlefront in hand, kill the Genesis here. It's probably too good to not kill Genesis. All right, Arsenal flicker. We're at the point where we're probably like approaching setting up our combo at some point. So it seems good to do here. All right, let's go ahead and block with Bastion. And yeah, Genesis is one of the auras you just like cannot let it live. It's just way too strong for what it does. All right, seems like they're gonna pay into the pop. Sounds good. And then could maybe get them with the cheeky Sigil Suffering here. Could also like reduce. Yeah, let's go for the Sigil. Which like we have that 1 prevention floating anyway, so regardless, it always, you know, covers the whole thing. Oh, do they have? Oh, right, it's a target hero or attacking hero, so it doesn't actually ping. Interesting. Let's go ahead and just make Rune Chant and then do the same play we've been making the past 5 turns. Doesn't get any more interesting no matter how much I talk about the synergy of Ghastly Arcanine and Reaping Blade, which is you know, a synergy that no one ever talks about ever. But yeah, sometimes I get bored of resolving Chase the Tails and aspects and whatever, but then I play like a Rune Blade and then I get even more bored. Alright. Fortune coming in seems good, and they're probably just gonna block or let it die or whatever. I think both are fine with me. Fortunately, our reduce is not reduced, but we can reduce the reduce by using Tunic here. It's good. Go ahead and just give them what here? Runic, I guess, because we're not like maybe we give them life later or whatever. I don't know. My brain's kind of melted at this point from this deck. This deck is like very, very boring to play at night. We're getting close though. Like soon we're gonna be drawing into like 3 Arc Lightnings, which is kind of cool. So what is the distribution that's correct for, or like what is the sequencing that's correct for 1 flicker, 3 Arc Lightnings? I don't know. It's probably just arc, flicker. Or is it flicker, arc? I guess it depends. Okay. So I guess we have that flicker in Arsenal, so maybe we can get the double flicker off too, is maybe potentially possible. All right, let's go ahead and just, I guess, play out a CYB here. And if they go for like Aura end of turn, we can kill with Reaping Blade. I guess we'll just keep the Finals Fighting Spirit in hand. All right, we will attempt to go for Pop here, I think. We can also just play out 2 CYBs and just let them like have it this turn if they want it. It's maybe a strategy, but we'll make them work for it, I guess. Right, pitching 2 Arc Lightnings because they're probably not super great here. All right, and they will finally get their first soul after what feels like a very long time for them. So yeah, guess we'll just let them have it. I think we'll just like CYB and then Reaping Blade on our turn and then IP with the CYB seems fine. Sounds good to me. All right, so we'll do that exact play. Go ahead and just swing in for 3 plus CYB. Reaping Blade is actually putting in a lot of work this game. I feel like they've gotten to 18 just off the back of like Grass plus Reaping Blade. All right, maybe we're not actually done talking about Reaping Blade. Pretty good. We gotta be approaching our stack like any turn now. It's like if it's not this next hand, it's gotta be like the hand after, because we've been pitching like feels like so much. So what is the efficient thing to do with this hand? Probably just find all CYB, do the thing. All right, they are gonna get some soul here, which means that they can like turn on their angels finally. So we'll go ahead and pop and try to limit their resources here at least. Fortunately, that at least doesn't trigger Prism, so they don't get a Figment out, but definitely still like pretty reasonable for them. And it seems like they're not going to do anything. Makes sense to me. Do we want to just like preemptively discard this? Like honestly, maybe. Right. Oh, I have Reaping Blade out. Lol. Okay. Well, forgot about that. Okay, maybe I'm supposed to like board out the Haunting Renditions. Oh, that's why I've not been getting life. Sorry, my brain is like toasted after this week. All right, well we have the arc flicker, which is kind of cool. I think that's 20 damage, right? If I'm not mistaken. Plus we have gold plus tunic. So I imagine this should kill. Maybe. I think we have another arc lightning like pretty soon after this though, if we want to give it another turn, but like maybe we don't. It's probably fine to just go for it, right? We have the gold as an extra like ping basically. Have they flipped this turn? I think they did flip this turn. I think it's probably correct to go for it. So maybe we just give them the skull cap here plus shelter. So I think what we should have done in this matchup is like board out the CYBs over whatever else we were boarding out. I think we boarded out like 8 pots or whatever. That's probably wrong. I forgot that Reaping Blade is the way that it is. But that's okay. Let's go ahead and I guess just block with, or I guess we don't even block with shelter. We just let this hit. Yes, we let this hit because obviously. They could get kind of close to killing us, maybe. Depends. I think we have 20 damage here, right? If I calculated that right. All right, coming with another Herald, which I don't think we care about. So 20 damage plus whatever we get off the gold plus that. So should probably be good enough, I would imagine. All right, coming in here for 5 and then maybe additional pump seems good. So we set up the stack here at least pretty well. I don't think we have all 3 arc lightnings next to each other. I think they're close to each other, but not like directly next to each other. I think there's like some blues in between. All right, seems like they're just going to pitch here to get some cards out of hand. Makes sense. So I think we always start with the arc here, right? So we start with the arc, see what they do. And then now we have to like flicker, I think is what we do. Because we need the other arc for fusing. So I'm glad we actually did the math on this to figure out like what the most efficient thing is. Because it might actually kind of come in handy this game. We get to kill the angel here, which is also pretty good because it's like effectively coming in for like an AB breakpoint almost. So yeah, we're doing 2 and 2, so I do correctly understand how Arc Flicker works. So now we're coming in for 3 and then 3 twice, basically. All right, go ahead and play out another Arc Lightning. So this should have been, I think, 20 damage, if I'm not mistaken. Because we do 3 and then 6. They started at 17, they have Lord 2. I think that was 20, maybe? I don't know. Maybe I did do the math wrong. I'm going to like double check after this game. So we'll go ahead and fish off gold here. I think we're drawing into a blue. We should just basically get them here. Like, I think they can flip an angel and live, kind of, but not like really. Yeah, it seems like we just barely got there. So I guess you don't even need to do the full Arc Flicker thing. Let's see what was our deck. So we had 2 blues, like I said, or I guess like 3 blues and the Arc Flicker, or the Arc Lightning, and then Flicker Wisp was, I guess we fished, or like we put a Flicker Wisp in the bottom at some point. I don't exactly remember when we did that, but it seems like we lined up that game pretty well. Yeah, this deck is like, this deck, I'm kind of like falling asleep playing this deck, not gonna lie. It's just like kind of watching paint dry while you just like wait a very long time. I don't know. This isn't the kind of like flesh and blood I normally like to play. It's very just like does feel like it's despite like you do interact with your opponent by blocking, it's like kind of just like not doing anything until you just draw the thing, which is like whatever. I don't know. Never been crazy about the arc flicker combo, and I'm still not crazy about it now. But I think that was at least a good game to showcase. Like you can probably just beat a Prism with this deck, and I think we also basically beat an Aurora as well. So like maybe this deck is actually like not an F tier deck. Maybe this is actually like a legitimate kind of meta strategy, depending on if people are like prepared for it or not. But yeah, definitely, I guess, be on the lookout for this deck, because this deck does seem like it does kind of work sometimes, maybe. Who knows? But yeah, I think that's going to be F tier Fridays for today. So thank you all for watching. Again, this is not my deck. I think this was from the calling in Brazil. I think it made 5-2 on day 1, so very, very impressive. And yeah, this seems like a very, very solid deck that's just like has the game plan, is sticking to it, and it's basically just trying to catch your opponent off guard. And if they can't kill you, then you're kind of in pretty good shape. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.